Richmond supporters, welcome back to another video. Now, I did see a couple of comments on my recent rolling best 22 video asking if I could try and have a crack at doing a round 23 best 22. And I thought, oh yeah, we'll have a go at that. And it's honestly been really, really difficult. So it's obviously just a bit of a fun exercise because there's literally no way of predicting who's going to be in the best 22 by round one, far less in round 23. But it's all a bit of fun nonetheless. And I really do think that a best 22 for round 23 will actually divide a lot more people than the round one versions, because the assumption has to be when doing this exercise that everyone's fit and available. I don't think we can try and predict or have foresight on injuries or retirements or things like that. So for the sake of the exercise, let's assume that every player on our list is back and fit and healthy and ready to go for round 23. What does everyone's best 22 look like for the last round of the season? How do you want to see our team progress, and what do you want to see it line up like for that last game in 2025? I'll put up mine on the screen now and we'll go through it. Like I said, I'm probably going to get clipped for some of these, and there's going to be plenty of other suggestions, and it's going to be fascinating to see what you all put in your own best 23 or best 22, because the options are endless. So it's a really interesting exercise. But here's my one. So starting from the back line, I've gone with Nathan Broad, Bolter and Vlosten. That's fairly well the same as my round one lineup, with the exception of Bolter. I just think that even with the young kids you got coming through, you still need stability and you still need experience down in that part of the ground. Bolter is going to be the best in that position at fullback by far. Vlosten and Broad speak for themselves. They have leadership, class, poise, aggression, toughness, the works, and leadership. So I think it's going to be really, really difficult to dislodge them from the side at this stage. At least for 2025. So they are my back three. Half-back line, Jaden Short, Josh Gibkiss and James Trezise. Gibkiss, I think and hope, will be back by midway through the season. I think once he gets a good run at it, I reckon you're going to lock him into the centre half-back spot. He's just, we all know what capabilities he has. It's just getting him on the park to do it, but that's how I would see that playing out. Jaden Short, I feel like might be contentious with some people, just because of some of the young kids we've got coming through who are also trying to play that half-back role, but sort of similar to the Broad and Vlosten discussion point, you still need experience and leadership. And while I know that Shorty didn't have a great 2024, I'm backing him in to have a good 2025, and I still think you need that leadership and drive off the half-back line, and I reckon he'll still be featuring there come the end of the season. Trezise, on the other hand, I think will be making a huge claim for that half-back spot. I think Caleb Smith and Tom Brown will also be in the mix for that spot. So some of these positions might change a little bit. That's the hard part to get right, I think. I've gone with Trezise because I really do like what he brings to the table, and he has been really unlucky with injury the last couple of years. And above all else, I respect that he trains in a bucket hat, and that alone for me, he deserves to be best 22. But in all seriousness, I'm expecting him to take a big step forward this year, assuming his body stays right and stays on the park. And I definitely think that if that transpires, that he will be locked into the best 22 by end of the season. Moving up to the wings now, Hugo Ralsmith stays on one wing. I had him there in my round one team, and I don't think that's going to change. There's no secret that he was one of our most improved in 2024, and I think he's going to take some more steps forward in 2025, and hopefully just mature and grow into that role. He just needs to own it and make it his own, and I think he will do that. On the other wing, this is where things get a little bit contentious. I've gone for Luke Traynor. Now, I know we just drafted him playing as a key defender. He doesn't have the body size for a key defender just yet, but he does have a serious skill set, good running ability, and he's just a smart footballer. And I think he's going to force his way into the 22 in some way, shape or form. Maybe Trezise and Traynor swap over from wing to half-back. So a lot of those positions are open to interpretation, I guess. But my overwhelming feeling is Luke Traynor will be in the 22 by end of the year. We'll probably see him obviously a lot earlier than round 23. But I just can see him doing some good work on a wing. And I think he did play on the wing in some of the Coates League games he had during the year. So it's not unfamiliar. And coaches have identified he can play that role at least that level. So maybe there's something there for AFL level. Half forward line, I know this one's going to throw people up in arms. Tom Brown. Again, he's probably going to go to halfback at some point. I don't know if Trezise can play half forward. I haven't really seen him do that, but we have seen Brown be a weapon on the half forward line. I'm not, in my own mind, I'm not even really sold that's his best spot. We need two of him. We need to have one in the back and one in the front half. But he's got a laser kick, and him delivering the ball to our forwards or kicking long goals himself, I think works a treat. I think no matter what, he'll be locked into the best 22 by end of the year, if not already. It's just a matter of what position works best for the team. So that, I think, is going to be the big topic of discussion to see where we all land with that. I've gone with Armstrong at centre half forward. I think he will. I think he'll make his way into the side from about the midway point of the year. Just that bash and crash type forward. I just think they want him maybe to build on his tank a little bit, but the dude can seriously kick a ball, right? He's a great kick for goal, and I think that he's going to grab this opportunity. Jonty Ford was a strong consideration as well, and I do think that it's going to be between the two of them fighting this out. So to be locked in for the end of the year, but I've gone with Armstrong. On the other half forward line, I've gone for Ryan Mansell. Again, I had him in there for my round 1 team as well. The only thing I'll say about Mansell, by the time round 23 rolls around, I would love to see him rotated through the midfield a bit more. I just think that his speed, his chasing and tackling and pressure adds another dynamic and another dimension to a midfield mix. I'm not saying he's a starting mid, but just as part of the rotation. But otherwise, I can't see him not being in the best 22. He's probably been our best trainer over the preseason camp. He obviously was on the Sunshine Coast trip as well. So he's setting himself for a big year. And yeah, he'll be locked into the best 22 by the end of the year, as he already is right now. Full forward line, I've gone Jacob Bauer. Again, I've got him in my round 1 side, and I firmly believe that he's going to have I don't want to say if it's a breakout year, because maybe that's next year, but he's going to have a very solid year, and I think he's going to show a lot of potential and a lot of promise for everything that we kind of hope he's going to live up to. Injuries permitting, of course, but all things being equal, I think he will be firmly entrenched into our forward line, playing alongside Lynch as one of the two forwards at a minimum, and then that third centre-half forward spot could be up for grabs. The other forward pocket, I've gone for Seth Campbell. Again, he's not going to be pigeonholed to a forward pocket. He's going to play wing. He's going to probably run through the middle at times, half forward. He's going to play a wide range of positions, but I think he will be locked into the 22 by the time season ends. Again, I just don't know what his starting position will end up being, what will be best for the team, but I can see him, playing forward and then rotating through wing midfield, places like that. But he's looked really impressive from the preseason stuff as well. In the ruck, I've gone Nankervis. This is on the proviso that he's still captain. If he's not captain, I won't be shocked if maybe it transitions to Samson Ryan, if he comes on how I think and hope he will. So there's a bit of caveat there, but for intents and purposes, Nankervis is probably more likely at this stage to be still the number 1 ruck around 23. I'm just thinking of his age as well, all right? So I don't think I'm trying to fling Nankervis out to one side. He's 30. He's heading towards the latter part of his career. There is going to be a natural transition phase between he and the next ruckman, who I think and hope is going to be Samson Ryan. Could be wrong. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I've got him in there for the moment. I've got Lawler in as one of the midfielders. This could be a little bit hit and miss because the young kids are going to tire by the end of the year. So I do acknowledge that. But on the assumption they're all fit and fresh and ready to go, I think he's going to cement himself in our starting midfield. And that might be an extraordinary call for a first-year player. I just think he's got it. So I'll roll with that. And I've gone for Jack Ross for the other midfield spot, who probably divides a lot of people as well with his disposal and things like that. But he was looking really, really good last year before he got injured and missed, 12 or 14 weeks or something like that. I don't know. The wing experiment's done. I think his home is as a midfielder, and I think he is going to find himself planted firmly in there. Because he does he can kick goals too, so he actually does add an offensive element to it as well. And I think he's going to find himself there by the end of the season in a more permanent way. On the bench, I've gone for Caleb Smith. I do believe that he and Trezise are fighting out for a half-back spot, so Smith may have some more strings to his bow, being able to play. Maybe he plays as a small forward as well, or a half forward potentially if he can't play the half-back role. I just think he's probably got a good enough skill set that he can play multiple positions, and I think he'll force his way in. Josh Smiley on the bench. Again, there's a very, very good chance that he'll be starting on the field in some way, shape or form. Where that is, I'm not too sure. Maybe that is as a forward, maybe it is as one of the midfielders, but I think he'll be well and truly locked into the 22. Morris Rioli Jr., again, by this point in time, I would be hoping that along with his forward work, I would be hoping that he's running through the midfield in some capacity as well, because similar to Mansell, his chasing, his pressure, his speed, I think will be vital to having a good midfield mix for 2025 and beyond. And then I've gone McAuliffe as well for the last midfielder. I think he's going to be set for a big year. Probably didn't get all of the opportunities he would have liked last year, but I think he will start seeing them towards the mid to late part of the year. And by the end of it, I think he's going to be locked into that midfield. For the sub, I've gone for Houghton. I know he's not technically going to start until midway through the season, but geez, he's got a super amount of talent. And I can see him hitting the ground running. And I think he will find himself into the side later in the year. Maybe not as a permanent best 22, but I think his explosiveness, his X factor could be very handy coming on as a sub. With that said, though, there's obviously quite a few glaring omissions. Obviously no Prestia there. There's no Jacob Hopper's not there either. Are probably the two main ones from a midfield perspective. And I don't know. I mean, Prestia, we probably all think is towards the end of his career, obviously, rather than the start of it. And I'm not at all suggesting he'll be injured or retired by this stage. I just think that given our position on the ladder is likely going to be in the bottom four, that when we get to round 23, our eyes do have to start getting, planted onto the future. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there's a bit of a passing of the baton at some stage. And for Hopper, I think it might just be a case of, does he get forced out of the side? I don't know. And this is not, I really like Hopper. I think he does good things and he's been training really, really well. But the question becomes, do we get similar output from a Lawler, Ross, Smiley versus Hopper? And is their ceiling for improvement higher? Are we better off long term? So they're the things you've got to weigh up. But I can definitely understand why people would have Prestia and Hopper in a round 23 team. I can understand why Trainer would be in the backline. There's a whole raft of things that I've probably got that some of you don't agree with and would change, and that's totally fine. It's very much a big guessing game. But there you go. That is my round 23 best 22. That was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be honest. But make sure you let me know in the comments below. Who would you have in your best 22 for round 23 at the end of the year? What would you like to see our best starting lineup look like? Let us know and make sure you like and subscribe for more Richmond content. Catch you for the next one. Go Tigers.